Hi, this is Tom Van Can, just giving you a bit of background on the behind the scenes footage that you're watching from our latest video, Good Problem. Decided to, rather than have a man, a physical human, representing the good problem, I thought it would be more subtle and more interesting to have a hawk. So the hawk is the kind of male spirit in this film. I thought if we used a real person, when somebody was listening to the track, whether male or female, they would kind of, and you showed them a real man, that would kind of like mean that that was the only man that was then in their heads rather than their imaginary man, their imaginary good problem. Whereas a hawk does their job and probably does it better, and it also enables a kind of interesting interaction between Sarah the dancer and this wonderful Harris hawk, this lovely bird. We used a drone, so our cameraman Garant Warrington is a CAA, Civil Aviation Authority, accredited pilot, because these things are quite serious and large and need to be treated with respect. So the drone is acts as the kind of POV of the point of view of the hawk in the video, which has worked really well. You'll see some shots. So the very first shot where the camera is just kind of in the grass and then lifts up. That's a point of view of the drone, and also the sweeping across the lake there. We shot. We were very lucky. We got 3 locations. That lake is enormous, probably about 2 acres, and it is a trout lake for fishermen who spend lots of money kind of fishing for trout. But on that day, there was no one there, and the owner was quite happy for us to just kind of use it as our own. So we had this huge location, beautiful location for nothing. And also across the street, a lovely cottage with a huge amount of land behind it, which was our meadow and our woodland. That piece of woodland, interestingly, was actually a tennis court in the Second World War, and it just shows just how quickly nature kind of takes over that space once it stops being used. And there were still bits of the tennis net, and you could see the little roller, the tennis net roller, and a little bit of the kind of net, kind of corner piece of the netting, and just kind of like buried in amongst the foliage. The dancer, Sarah Jane Potter, is an Australian, and her comment was quite funny because she said that, in Australia, animals are the things that we worry about attacking us, but in England, plants bloody attack you. And because she was dancing in that space, and there were stinging nettles, and there were brambles, and there were thistles, and she just had those little ballet pumps on and bare feet and bare arms, and she did that without any complaint whatsoever, even being stung and scratched to pieces. And she did it also 30 times that 3 minute. I know as a boxer that 3 minutes is the duration of a round when you're fighting. And after that 3 minutes, you are kind of on your knees, and you do, maybe in an amateur fight, you do kind of 6 or 8 rounds, and, in a professional, it's maybe 15. But she did 30 of those 3 minutes fully in that one day, in the cold and wet, even though it was July, and with those brambles and stinging nettles and thistles kind of attacking her. So hats off to her. She's a cracking girl and a great dancer, and made not one peep of complaint the whole day. So I think that deserves a huge round of applause.